Oh boy. You know, this whole thing happening with Elon Musk and Twitter reminds me of, I think it was Mike Tyson who had that line where he said, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face.
Elon Musk's public journey has taken a dramatic shift. Once hailed as the visionary aiming to send humanity to Mars, his current focus seems rooted in far less ambitious ventures. The transition is not just about goals, it represents a broader narrative of over-promising and under-delivering, one that Musk and figures like Donald Trump have turned into a strategy. The core pattern remains consistent. Promise something extraordinary, fail to achieve it, and somehow emerge more influential. This dynamic is not accidental. It is designed to build emotional loyalty rather than accountability. Musk's takeover of Twitter initially appeared to be a bold stand for free speech and open dialogue. He framed it as a new era for comedy and expression, but shortly after the introduction of paid verification caused widespread impersonation and misinformation. Major companies suffered financial damage due to fake accounts, and user trust eroded.
You know, so one of the first things Elon said when he took over was like, comedy is now legal on Twitter. And he was like, it's time for free speech, time for comedy, time for people to actually have fun on Twitter again. And then what people started doing was they started changing their names to Elon Musk. Right? So people changed their Twitter handles to Elon Musk. And then they just started tweeting things as if they were Elon Musk. They were like, I'm such a terrible person, my wife left me. Just random shit, right? And then Twitter just banned all of their accounts. They're like, suspended. And then he was like, no parodying of people on the... He's like, unless you say it's a parody. It's like, what? So it's not funny now? It's not...
What was sold as a platform of freedom quickly spiraled into disarray. Similarly, Trump's administration showcased grand ideas that never materialized. The most symbolic was the border wall, marketed as a sweeping solution to immigration issues and a monument of sovereignty. Yet it barely reached completion and fell short of its fundamental objectives. Despite the clear gap between promise and delivery, the narrative remained intact. He claimed success, and many accepted it. This model thrives on emotional appeal over tangible outcomes. The key is perception management. The illusion of momentum and disruption is more important than the result. For Musk, colonizing Mars or producing self-driving cars becomes more about the announcement than the execution. For Trump, policies and plans exist as symbols of resistance rather than tools for governance. The failures are not ignored, they are reframed. Musk blames external pressures such as activist groups or media bias. Trump points fingers at political opponents, unfavorable conditions, or unseen forces. This redirection strategy ensures that accountability is deflected. Even technical setbacks or chaotic leadership choices are attributed to hostile external forces. Supporters respond not to metrics or results, but to identity. Both Musk and Trump have built brands rooted in opposition to perceived elites. Their actions are interpreted through a tribal lens. Criticism reinforces the idea that they are targets of an unfair system, further solidifying loyalty. This loyalty persists because it is based on a shared narrative. Being part of the Musk or Trump movement is portrayed as participating in a larger cultural battle. The feeling of defiance, rebellion, or innovation is more intoxicating than the real-world success of any single initiative. The technique relies heavily on distraction. When challenges arise or criticism builds attention, is diverted. New controversies are manufactured, alternative enemies are introduced, and the focus shifts from what was promised to who is supposedly obstructing it. The mechanism is cyclical. Announce something groundbreaking. Face complications. Reframe the issue as sabotage. Present yourself as the victim. Rally the base. Repeat. This method transforms failure into fuel for deeper commitment. Critically, this isn't just a tactic, it's a business and political model. Spectacle overrides substance. Media coverage focuses on the drama rather than the effectiveness of leadership. This enables both figures to operate without the standard consequences that would impact others in similar positions. What makes the strategy durable is that it taps into emotions deeper than politics or technology. It appeals to hope defiance and the desire to believe in larger-than-life figures. The promises don't need to materialize if they continue to inspire belief. This turns every failure into a mere stepping stone for renewed devotion. But there is a limit to how long such illusions can hold. When cracks grow too visible, the structure becomes harder to defend. The The question then becomes whether the followers are invested in outcomes or in the story. Because the moment attention turns from spectacle to scoreboard, the entire model risks collapse. The real takeaway is this: the strategy is not to succeed in traditional terms. It is to dominate the narrative space, to occupy headlines, stir emotions, and keep audiences engaged, regardless of performance.
Could cause harm and panic. So you're saying somebody just saying something could cause harm? Well, not in the way you're saying it. I was like, yeah, man, everyone thinks jokes are funny until the joke is about them. That's the thing I've learned.
Understanding this allows us to see through the spectacle. Leadership must be measured not by noise, but by results. Otherwise, society risks mistaking performance for progress and rhetoric for reality. As the cycle continues, the strategy of overpromising and under-delivering relies heavily on the ability to control the narrative. It's not about the results, it's about how the story is framed. In this world, failure doesn't define the journey, it fuels the next chapter. When the walls of their promises start to crumble, Musk and Trump pivot seamlessly, reworking their public image, rebranding their setbacks as part of a larger struggle, and positioning themselves as perpetual underdogs in an ongoing battle against an invisible enemy. The chaos is never their fault. It's always someone else, whether it's activists, political opponents, or simply the system that's rigged against them. This tactic of shifting blame away from their own decisions enables them to maintain control over the narrative and retain the unwavering support of their followers. Instead of focusing on the lack of progress, they turn attention to the forces they claim are trying to silence them. This masterstroke of misdirection ensures their base stays loyal, even in the face of undeniable failures. It doesn't matter that the wall didn't get built, or that the self-driving Teslas haven't taken over the roads. What matters is the feeling that their supporters are part of something bigger than themselves, something that challenges the established order. The message is clear. The journey, the struggle, and the fight against the elites are what define them, not the end goal. But as time goes on, the cracks in the facade become more apparent. The more promises are broken, the harder it becomes to maintain this illusion. The question then becomes how long they can continue to thrive off this cycle. Sooner or later, the questions will become impossible to ignore, and the spectacle will no longer be enough to keep the illusion alive. In the end, the question is not whether these figures will continue to fail. It's how long they can keep their supporters invested in the narrative of perpetual struggle of promises that never quite materialize, but are always just around the corner. Until that day comes, they will continue to dominate the headlines, distract from their failures, and keep the spotlight firmly on the spectacle of their existence. But when the curtain falls, will the audience still be applauding? Or will they finally begin to question the performance? What do you think? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the subscribe button. The next one will be even more conversational.